So when we got married, this is what we based our marriage on. And it's 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. It says, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. If you can take this and line it up with your marriage, it's a guideline of how you're supposed to run your marriage. Are you patient with your mate? When he wants to talk about sports? Be patient. Never remember what he's doing wrong. Don't remember that. God says when he forgives you, he removes those sins from the far as they from the east to the west. That's an example. Do the same. That's the way we do it. I can sit up here and listen to her till she's done talking because I'm patient, because I'm in love with her. If I'm in love with her, I'm patient. And I can sit here and listen to her talk. And I can support her. But when I'm not in love, I don't support her. That's how you know you need to fix that. The first step in fixing a marriage is getting love first. Then you can do more. That's wisdom. That's wisdom. Go ahead.
I could listen to him all day.
Okay. What is the best way to gauge if your mate is the right person for you?
Go ahead.
All right. So you wrote a list. I had a list. It's kind of like one of those things that you kind of plan for it. You got to know what you want. You got to know what you want in your relationship, and you don't just kind of wing it. It's almost like if you build a house and you drove up on this piece of property, this piece of land, and you say, you know what, I'm just going to go get some wood, some nails, some shingles, and just going to show with all this stuff, and then I'm going to figure it out and then end up with this great house. It doesn't work that way. You plan it. You go get your blueprints, you lay out everything, you know exactly what you need, you go get all these perfect supplies, you come to the property site, and guess what? You get a great house. Relationship the same way. Don't just wing it. I'm just going to take whatever. Too many women take whatever. Quit taking whatever. You deserve more than that. So you got to first know that you're worth it. You have so much in you, and you have a whole life to either be happy or be miserable. So find out what it is you want. You're not going to get everything perfect. There's certain things like he wants more hair. I would have wished he had his old hair back. But you know what?
We praying over that. We speaking over that. We speaking over it, right?
But you're not going to get everything perfect. But those major points, you don't want them to be a person that really just doesn't want to be bothered with you, or so engrossed in their sports that they don't have time for you, and you got to just tag along, but you're miserable and they don't really care. Those are the kind of things that foundationally, they don't love God, they don't even want to go to church, and you want to go to church, and those areas, don't waste your time on that. I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted a man of God. I knew I wanted a man who prays. I knew I wanted a man who could love me through my hurts and love me through my mess, because I had some stuff on me. Because listen, when you get married, it just doesn't all go away. It's still some junk that, we are a product of our lives. And there's so many things that I had gone through, even as children. You watch things and you internalize it and you decided what it meant. As a child, in your undeveloped mind, that could be so way off, because the enemy is always looking for a way to plant some stuff in you. And I just had it all wrong. So I'm thinking, sometimes you think, oh, we're just so together, we got this all figured out, and I am almost perfect. Well, that was me, because I thought, hey, I was a nurse, I'm independent, and if I have a great man, this is great, but if I have him, great. If he's not there, I'm going to still keep going. But that's the wrong attitude. But that is the attitude I had. But I planned it. I said, God, this is what I want in my mate, and I looked for those things, and he did the same thing. You told him about your list.
Yeah, I told him about my list.
You should see you jumped ahead.
I'm sorry.
Told you.
It was good though.
Okay.
How do you successfully balance work and home life?
Yes, don't do.
All right.
Okay.
Whatever.
Here's what we do. We have a business. We've had several businesses. I was a photographer. I'm a nurse. I did home health. He has landscaping. We still have that business 25 years later.
Yep.
We had 6 kids. We was a football coach. We had 3 teams at one time. I was a team mom for 3 teams at one time. I mean, we worked, Jewel. We worked, didn't we? We volunteered for everything. And we were doing ministry at the church. We were just busy. But you know what? I never, ever once felt like I was neglected. Sometimes people think in order to feel connected to your mate, you got to have a whole week, 2 weeks. I never felt like that. I felt like he always made sure that we had those intimate conversations. It's about the quality of the time you have. Because you can be gone a whole week and nobody saying anything and you leave there thinking, man, I'm so lonely. I've never felt lonely. He's always been there. We've always had those deep conversations. So even in our busy life, he always makes sure he comes in and we have those conversations. How was your day? Are you okay, baby? Those kind of questions mean you really want to know about my deep thoughts. And he can tell. So I always tell people, study each other. Study your mate. Find out when you can tell if you're saying the right things. Find out, those things that trigger, okay, he's shutting down. And we stayed on top of it. And I have learned through his transparency that it's okay to be transparent, even when I'm wrong. There were times I would say, you know what, I don't like these kids. None of them. I don't like them. And I would say, what was I thinking? And I would say this to him. And your one kid, that kid, he is something. I would say all these things, and he could get so offended and say, you know what, we out of here. And I mean, all that. And he allowed me to feel what I felt. And then he would go and pray. So having those moments of transparency, letting you feel what you feel, accepting where you are, and knowing that the end result is we got to get back to unity. That's why our book is called Creating Unity. Because if you can create unity in your relationship, there's really not a whole lot you can't get through. Yeah. Because the train is all going in the same direction. Right. And when you start going opposite, that's when you run into problems. That's when you're going in the wrong direction and you're headed for divorce. Just give it a little bit of time. But if you can keep your train going in the same direction and you stay in unity with each other, I'm telling you, there's nothing that you cannot get through. Nothing. So.
Yeah, going through a divorce and going through that pain of going through that, you don't want to return back to that. You fight for it the second time. And so love was major in keeping this relationship going, because it says faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. Love will take you through the tough times. Love will take you through the times that you're confused and maybe your mate isn't showing you the love that you need. But it never fails. It says in the Bible, love never fails. So if it never fails, that means it's a weapon. And God will work on your mate so that he will or she will help you get back in line if you're married. If you're not married, don't do that. Spare yourself. Make that list. Because that list is important. It's important to you. It's important to have the guidelines, because when he says write the vision down, that's your vision for your marriage, your mate. That's your vision. And that's how you get what you're looking for. Nobody puts a blindfold on and goes on a blind date. Do they? Oh, well, I mean, you didn't, but your dad set you up, yeah. I didn't do that, though. I didn't do it. So, yeah, that's so important. It's so important. Love conquers all. It conquers all. I seen it. I seen it at work in our marriage. Love conquers all. That's why we named our church Spirit of Love, because love conquers all.
That's right. Amen.
Love conquers all.
That's good, baby.
Thank you.
Okay.
Did you create boundaries to protect your marriage?
Oh,
That's a good one.
that is a good question. So yes, we do. We always set boundaries. I think the most important thing in our relationship is we knew going in what we wanted. So that's the conversation. If you're not married, have that conversation. Okay, what kind of boundaries we're going to have here? Because marriage is not for the faint of heart. You have to be mature. If you're going to have a lot of buddies and girlfriends always coming to your house, always hanging out, it bothers me when I see a bunch of women that say, we're going to go clubbing tonight. I mean, you're setting yourself up for failure. I mean, what do you do in a club? I mean, what do men do in a club? I mean,
Right.
What are they looking for if there's a woman there? So, you protect yourself from things that could open you up to things that you just wish had never happened. And it takes that much time for your life to be turned upside down. So, this is my best friend. Pastor Nan's my best friend. We've babysat each other's children. We've had sleepovers from our girlfriend nights, scrapbooking all night. But if I was not home and they came and knocked on my door, my husband's at home, they're not coming in. And I don't have to tell them that. They just know that is one of those things that the enemy will use to break your marriage up, destroy your whole life and your children's life. It takes 1 second to end up in that boat. So those kind of things, you have to use wisdom on setting those boundaries. We set boundaries with our kids. If it was us and we just had, 6 kids, a lot of stuff going on, sports. But when we went in that bedroom and shut that door, those boys knew, don't mess with mom and daddy, because that's our time. No matter what we're doing, it was our time. You see? So set the boundaries. But the key to make this happen is you got to be in unity. Agree what it is. Don't waver, because if you do and you have children, they're going to jump in there and they're going to jump in with all fours. And they're going to separate and conquer and divide, and they will win.
That sounds like the devil.
Yeah.
Sound like
Because the devil will even use your children to separate you, and you cannot allow that to happen. So yes, those are the boundaries that you set. You keep the opposite sex at bay. Not to say you have to live like a hermit and afraid to talk to them, and but you. Here's another thing I want to say. So there's times when, especially me, because I'm the outgoing one. I'm the one that's talking to everybody, and he's more quiet and subdued. So at our old church, men would always come up and want to talk to me. And I'm not thinking about nothing other than I just want to talk to them because I like a great conversation. I like to know about people and where they come from. Well, he would say, I don't like the way that man looking at you. I don't like the way he's talking to you. I'm thinking, what did he say? I'm just talking about this or his job or whatever. But here's the thing. Sometimes, even though your heart is right, theirs may not be. And he would say, I know how men think. Guess what? He does. I don't think like a man. I'm just thinking we're having a good old conversation. So you have to respect each other's opinion and their words, because sometimes there's truth to it. And sometimes this has happened to me many times. I look back on it and I think, wow, he was right. Because see, the enemy's slick like that. You see? So, okay.
How do you handle sibling rivalry in a blended marriage? Sibling rivalry.
We are married. We're not married to our kids. We're married to each other. We're called to be husband and wife. We're called to be mom and dad, not their friends. When we got married, Roland, I adopted him. He was a little shade darker, but it didn't matter because he was my adopted son. He was my son. Once I adopted him, that adoption thing left. He's my son. People will look at me like, that's your son? I'm like, yeah, that's my son. Wouldn't they? You didn't see no difference between Mike and Roland, did you? No. Because I raised them accordingly. If God gave me the opportunity to raise a son that I can adopt, then he's going to be my son. Because when he gets older, he's going to come home and ask, Dad, what should I do here? Oh, I put too much in him for you to go up there. I put too much in him. So, yeah, he was my son. And when we got married, we had that. where we had to work on that. We had to work on, okay, I know he's your baby, but let me raise him. Let him play some football. Let him go play and wrestle. Let him. But that's you got 2 other babies. You got 1 on the way. What you gonna tell them? Sometimes it takes common sense to step in, because our emotions step in. And you know what? That young man, he just flourished. He said, Dad, I'm so glad you let me play football. You let me wrestle. You let me play baseball.
That's right.
Let me go hunting. I said, yeah, that's because you're my son. You're my son. There's no rivalry. Once you say I do, you accept. She accepts my sons, I accept hers. Period. Done with. Don't give no place to the devil. Because he'll separate your family letting him do that. He will.
Is your debt his debt?
Why are you saying that?
She said it like she knows something. Well, unfortunately, it is. Sometimes that's one of those things before you get married that you should check on. How much debt do you have? I mean, that's not a stupid question.
No.
You need to know that. I don't care. I'm love you. Y'all love. No, I'm a girl. How much money you got? Debt. How long are we going to have to fight this struggle? Because finances is the number one reason why people divorce. So if that's the case, then I would be doing everything I can to make sure you don't have too much debt. But let me tell you, we got into some debt, and a whole bunch of it with our business. And it was tough. And his debt, business debt, became our debt. And it was not fun. But, here's the thing. A lot of people say, well, I'm just going to keep my account separate, and I'm just going to do my thing, and I'm going to have my budget, and I ain't going to be broke. But you know what? You're one. And that train is still not going anywhere. You might feel good. You might be able to go buy your dress and get your nails done and your eyelashes and your eyebrows and everything else. But you're still not going anywhere as a couple. You're only as strong as your weakest link. Right? That was good. If I do say something.
So what's up? How do you trust again after being cheated on?
How do I trust again after being cheated on? A lot of prayer. That's why one of the reasons why if you come to us and you say you're not a believer, we don't know how to help you, because you got to pray.
And you have to forgive.
And you have to forgive. You have to pray. And, I think for me, I had to let go of some things prayerfully, because I knew if I didn't, then I could never. I'm praying to God to send me a beautiful man who's going to love me. But I'm mad and still holding on to unforgiveness. You got to look at who's behind it. It's like when you're in a fight with the two of you, and you're fussing and fighting and screaming and yelling, and you did this and you did this and you did this and you did this, and we have, I can't say master, but we've gotten pretty good at, even when it is something that we legitimately did to each other, we still recognize it's the enemy behind it. Did you hear that? It's the enemy behind it always. Even when you make a mistake that you screwed up on, it still was the enemy trying to use that to separate you. So we have learned to pray. Just like with our dad, I could be mad at him, and let me tell you, I was mad. I have been mad a whole lot with the business and all. I hate this business. It's been the greatest challenge of our marriage, probably. And so, but at the end of the day, just a few weeks ago, something came up with the business, and I was just like, oh, and I was getting ready to get this attitude, and I started thinking about it. God's getting ready to do something great for us, and I could disrupt that flow and that anointing by getting angry, and staying angry is something that's been there for all these years. What am I going to get mad about for now? It ain't changed one thing. So I just decided that I'm going to keep my mouth shut, and I'm going to praise my God. So I shift my focus. So that's what I'm telling you. Just shift your focus on God, because you being mad at each other is not going to help you. God's not going to answer your prayer. Your prayers are hindered then. So I want to keep my prayer unhindered. So I might as well just go ahead and just pray it through.
Amen.
And then we decided we just connect, and I can tell him, baby, I'm just mad about it. I know. Let's just pray. And we would do that. Sometimes when we first started practicing this, let's just pray. I've been wanting to give him the pinky. Like
that.
Yeah. Let's just pray. I don't even want to touch you right now. But
I was trying to get the whole hand, but it
No,
only,
no. You take my fingernail.
you know, when you're a husband, you're in a doghouse.
Yeah. So he just like, just take my fingernail. But now it's like, you know what? We do need to pray about it. And we just hold hands and we just pray. Get back in unity. Because if you stay in unity, I'm telling you, God's going to answer your prayer. And he's going to come through.
Plus, he's watching you. How you handling this? What you doing with this? Wow. You know, I saw a beautiful, I listened to this guy the other day, and he was talking about Jesus. When he came in the room, and the disciples were sitting in the room, and they were sitting there waiting on Jesus. And he came in the room, and they said, Are you Jesus? And he said, it's me. It's me. And they said, I don't know. He goes, no, it's me. Look at my nails. Look at my feet. Look at the holes in my feet. And he said, these are my scars. I have the proof to show you it's me. And that's what we're doing. We have the proof of what we're going through to help other people. Because your scars help you get to your destiny. They help you get there. If you didn't have your scars, you wouldn't get there. So in order to have a marriage, you got to have some scars to make it to the end. In order to be an overcomer, you have to have some scars, because those scars help you get there. They help you get there.
And you can have scars in the marriage you're in. You know, you don't have to go through what we went through, divorce and everything else, and pain and hurt and everything. You're going to have some scars in your present marriage. If it's your first, you're going to still get some scars, but that's going to keep you, grow you, and get you stronger so that you can then really enjoy your marriage.
Yeah.
People think when you get married, as soon as you get married, everything is like perfect. No, you got to get some scars, and you're going to grow, and you're going to, because in order to press something together, you're pressing. There's a pressure. But once you get it hooked, it's there. So go through the pressure. Don't give up so quickly. Fight for it. It's so worth it when you get to this point. Because listen, we've always had a good marriage, but now we have a really good marriage. So it just keeps getting better and better. We're older, but hey, who said you got to quit having fun? Right. Keep that thing fresh. Right. I mean, have fun. You don't even have to go anywhere. We don't even have to go. Listen, we could have a date 7 days at home. We would have the best. We got Uno, backgammon, some spades. You know, I taught him how to play spades, y'all. And he beat me. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God. So
he helped me.
I'm telling you, but listen, there's so much good that you could have in your relationship. And every single person in the world wants a good relationship. There's not one single person in the world that does not want a good relationship. People who say they don't, it's because they think they can't have it. But there's some tools you can put into play. And once you put those tools into play, let me tell you, your life could be so peaceful, so good. And I'm so thankful. I am so thankful that I have a husband who loves me and who can feel when I am hurting. You know, we could be completely asleep and he can reach over and he'll wake up, baby, okay? I'm just worried about this, or I'm thinking about this. And he'll, in the middle of the night, and pray for me. That's the kind of husband you want. Yes. Or the kind when you sleeping and we both sleeping and we just got to hold hands. We just got to just hold hands. And it has become my peace, because I know if he's got to touch me, then that means I'm the only one on his heart. You know, if a man is cheating around, they don't want to touch you. That's the first thing I notice. All of a sudden, he don't want to touch me. He don't want to have nothing to do with me. But this man is like all over me. And I'm like right back with him, because like, you're not, I don't feel your skin. I don't feel your hand. I don't feel something. And, that's what you want. You want a beautiful marriage. And I'm not telling y'all it's perfect. I really do not want to paint that picture, because we be going through some stuff, y'all. Yeah. But at the same time, we know how to get through it.
Yeah.
That's the key. Learn how to get through anything that comes at you.
Okay. What do you feel is the secret to making a marriage work for a lifetime?
I think we kind of already answered that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Staying connected, staying in unity. If you can, you know, when we have couples that come to us and we're coaching them, the first thing we try to get them to see, because this is what usually happens. We met with a couple not too long ago, and the first thing they were saying was, she does this, he does this, she does this, and they were on and on and on, and I just stopped them. I said, I get that she does this and he does that, but that is getting us nowhere. We can sit here and listen all night long, and where are you going to be? At the end of it, you're just going to be mad at each other. You're more angry than when you came in. I said, let's just talk about, what are we trying to accomplish here? Didn't we always do this? Yes. Take you back to unity. Okay, we want to be in love. We want to have peace in our home. Okay, then you bickering about what's wrong is not going to get you there. Let's just talk about what we can do right so that you can get more peace. So we work on that constantly with couples, because it's all about perspective. If we can get people to think differently, we can get you on the right path.
Yeah.
We just know it. You know, when you come in, we can tell you right off the bat, we can help you or not. So, and if we can't, we're going to tell you, you know what, you're out of our pay grade. We get those kind too. You know, if you got some domestic violence or some alcohol or, you know, something like that, we'll tell you, no, we can't help you. You got to go get some further help. But because we're not going to fight and try to help people with drug addictions and things like that, because that's not the person we're fighting with. We're fighting with some devils, and that's not what we want to do. But if you come to us and say, hey, we just got this, we got that, let's get to unity, because unity feels real good. When you can go into your house, if you feel peace in your house, you love it. Yes. You can go at your work, if you feel peace at your job, you love it. Yes. Your friendships with your family, if there's peace and nobody's fighting, you love it. If everybody's fighting, you don't want to go there. Like, okay, let me brace up for this one before we go to Christmas. Yeah. You know, we don't have to do that. There is peace in our house, and you feel it. I can come to your house and I can tell you if there's peace in there. It doesn't take us but 2 seconds to know. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you have to like your in-laws?
Y'all know we know about that. So, my in-laws, my dad and mom thinks he's perfect, but me, on the other hand, they didn't like me because I was black. They liked me before guess who's coming to dinner. Yeah. Then it was cool then, but then when they discovered that we were actually dating, it was like, whoa, you know, we ain't gonna do that. So, but I decided that it didn't matter. You have to know who you are, because nobody can stop me because I'm black. That's right. So those kind of things irritate me, because if I know who I am, and if you don't want me, then fine, I don't want you to want me, because I don't want to be there. I'm gonna go somewhere else where I am wanted, and people are gonna see my value and my worth, and I know what God has for me. So it's about perspective. So with them, they had a problem with me because of the color of my skin. I did not really care. I'm still going to treat you right. I'm still going to be nice to you, but it didn't matter as long as he had my back. So if we stayed in unity, and he was not going to tolerate that, because they would call and say things like, can we have this one and that one, the white ones, to come and help us fix this and this and this. And I said, why would you ask for the two youngest, you know, one, the little one and the older one, instead of asking for like the two oldest ones to come and help fix a chicken coop or something like that? And well, it was clear that they just didn't want any black ones out there. They only wanted the all white ones. Well, he would say, it's all or none, Mom. It's all or none. He said, when I got married to you, we're one. You're my wife. I'm going to protect you, even if it's my mom and my dad. So don't ever let your mom and dad, when you get married, you become one with them, with each other, not with all those people. So as long as you have got that understanding and you can commit to it, you won't have that problem, because I felt protected. Don't let a woman feel unprotected, because we're going to turn ugly. That's when they'll be coming to us and say, he doesn't protect me. Well, I know what that means. But when you feel protected, we could get through anything. And I actually enjoyed the attention of it, because it's like, people would look at us like, and I'm just like, yes, girl, I got a good thing going on over here, because I knew that he protected us and our whole family. So,
it says a man will leave his mom and dad and cling to his wife. So at the end, when your mom and dad pass away and you were hugging on them instead of your wife, what do you have after that? You don't have anything. When your children move out of the house and they cling to their wives and their husbands, what do you have then? So you cling to your wife or cling to your husband. Women don't have that problem, clinging to their husbands. unless there is a problem. But yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah. So we are probably out of time, but we'll take tabs in the room.
Is this good, yo?
Okay. If communication is said to be one of the keys to a good relationship, how do we learn to communicate if we can't discuss matters without it becoming an argument?
I definitely want to answer that one. So one of the things that we have in our book is mirroring, because a lot of times people will, when they're trying to communicate, it's like you're hitting a brick wall. Communication is everything. First of all, people got to talk. People come to us and say, well, he doesn't like to talk. Well, that's the first thing I just want to just like tear into him. Like, you got to talk if you're going to communicate. So that's the first thing. That's like basic, right? But communication and erupting into argument, I always say, what's your end goal? Is your end goal so that you can constantly talk, so that you can rebuttal and prove your point? Because that's pointless. Yeah, you prove your point, but you still didn't hear what I'm saying. You want to be heard. And I was the one who, because he would let me talk and he would be very quiet. And the whole time I'm like, just get done. I'm going to get you. I got it. I got this one. And then, but I shifted that and started thinking, okay, well, let me just hear what he has to say, because he's slow to get to his points. Marriage will test everything about you and your patience or lack thereof. And he would take so long to get to his point, because he'd give you the whole roundabout story. If he tell you about a movie, don't go see it, because you didn't saw the whole thing in his story. I mean, he's like totally a spoiler. But I learned to just shut up and be patient, because always, if I give him the time, it's going to be good, and he'll have a different perspective on it. So being patient is one of the things. Letting each other feel what you feel, even if you don't agree, letting him feel that way, and keep having that dialogue. There are certain things that we did not fix in one conversation. It might have been years of, I don't see it this way, and you don't see it this way, but we didn't say, just shut up, I'm not going to talk to you about that, and you just shut up, I ain't talking to you about that. No, we got to have this conversation. So then we started with couples. We start saying, okay, what's your end goal in this? You just want to win so you can win and feel good about your win, or do you really want to get in unity here? So if they say they really want to get in unity here, then say, okay, then let you, and sometimes, I'm telling you, sometimes you are screaming and yelling and you're frustrated and you just, and all of that, it's okay. We've gone through all that. But at the end of it, the goal is, okay, I really want to hear what you're saying. And maybe I don't agree today, but if I leave it alone and we keep discussing it, and one of the biggest things that we do is when we have those areas that we are struggling with, trying to get to some unity on, we stop and we pray about it. That takes maturity. You're already mad. You know we're going to have this conversation again. You know how it's normally going to end. But when you start letting God get in the middle of it, I'm telling you, he'll give you wisdom and he'll open your eyes, because if you just say, God, if I'm wrong in this, even though, but I know I ain't. But if I am wrong in this, help me to see it. And if he's saying the same thing, you think God wouldn't honor that? He will honor it. Include God in everything that you do in your marriage, in your relationship, and you will not be unsuccessful. Will not be. Yeah, that's right? So keep him in the middle of it.
And what I like to say is humble yourself. It says in the Bible that if you humble yourself before God, he'll heal your land.
That's so good.
If you humble yourself to your husband or your wife, he'll heal your land. If you humble yourself to God, he'll speak to them for you, so that you can, if they're not seeing it right, he'll break it down so they can understand it, because he knows them better than you do. So if you humble yourself, that's when healing takes place. And it has to work. It has to work, because that's his word. He doesn't lie. It has to work. It's just like love conquers all. Love conquers all. That's how I can be patient when I'm getting impatience back.
That doesn't happen.
No. But that's how I handled it. That's what we had. I could be vice versa. I could be the one being impatient, and she could be the one that's patient. But because it's the opposite, that's how I know how to handle it. It's because when I show love, even though I'm getting it back, not knowing, it's not being patient, I'm still doing what God tells me to do. As long as you stay in God's plan for your marriage, it'll work.
Yeah, that's good.
It'll get fixed. But once you step out of his plan for your marriage, it will fail. And you will fail and you will feel like a failure. You have to stay in his plan how to do it. Because he talks about his friend, your best friend, being closer to their friend, loving your neighbor. Well, who's your neighbor in your house? To me, it's my wife. To you, it's your husband. It works, the same principles work outside the house as it does inside the house. Work it inside the house. If you can work inside your house and make it work, man, you'll be such an influence on the outside.
That's good, baby.
Thank you.
I see you. Oh, good job. Good job.